This blockade, which is an economic, commercial, financial, and aerial blockade, and I would even go so far as to say a maritime one, creates an irregular and unacceptable situation because it severely restricts Venezuela's ability to engage in commercial exchanges which are clearly outlined and protected by the World Trade Organization. And let's not forget the WTO is still very much relevant. Also the violation by the United States with his extraterritorial laws and measures carrying out extrajudicial actions in various places. The law for the protection of the freedom of navigation and commerce against piracy, blockades and other illicit international acts, and it is referred to the national executive for the purposes of its promulgation greater than today. Yeah, on this very day, the 23rd of December, on the eve of Christmas, on which occasion we have successfully approved a truly worthy law, a law specifically designed for the defense and careful protection of our homeland, the law for the protection of navigation and trade freedoms against piracy, blockades, and other illicit international acts. In the presence of the people of Venezuela, I hereby affix my signature to the corresponding missive for the purpose of ensuring that the citizen, the constitutional president of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, will be pleased to promulgate the corresponding law. This blockade, which is an economic, commercial, financial and aerial blockade, and I would even go so far as to say a maritime one, creates an irregular and unacceptable situation because it severely restricts Venezuela's ability to engage in commercial exchanges which are clearly outlined and protected by the World Trade Organization. And let's not forget the WTO is still very much relevant. Also the violation by the United States with these extraterritorial laws and measures carrying out extrajudicial actions in various places. We didn't have a law that could effectively uphold, of course, what is relevant particularly on the international stage, but equally so at home concerning the defense of our nation, especially when there's an attempt to establish a casus belli against us, that is to say a military action. What we've seen here is a dispossession, a blatant outright robbery that completely shatters the initial narrative, because the narrative here was all about the fight against drug trafficking, when in reality the true interests are precisely to steal our Venezuelan assets. Pirates on motorcycles, a city on edge, and a fresh flashpoint in the Caribbean. Dozens of motorcyclists dressed as pirates flooded the streets of Caracas. The reason they were staging a dramatic protest against U.S. President Donald Trump's order to seize Venezuelan oil tankers under what Washington calls a blockade of sanctioned oil vessels moving in and out of Venezuela. Greater than Venezuela. And we have come out to repudiate the Caribbean's chief pirate, who is now stealing the oil of all Venezuelans because it rightfully belongs to us. Today we stand here declaring to the entire world that these iron horses which are present here are ready for the defense of our homeland in absolutely any circumstance or moment that may arise to go for peace. But we are also fully prepared to defend it and to take up arms to defend our own people. Meanwhile, Venezuela's Interior Justice and Peace Minister Diosdado Cabello escalated the rhetoric sharply, issuing a direct warning to Trinidad and Tobago. Speaking at an event at the Police Coordination Center in La Garra on Monday, Cabello accused Trinidad and Tobago of allowing its territory to be used by the United States for military operations targeting Venezuela. This while stressing that Venezuela has always lived in peace and does not seek conflict. Cabello warned Caracas will not remain passive if attacked. The empire sooner rather than later. I truly hope it's very soon it will disappear. It absolutely must disappear for the good of all humanity. If not, humanity will head straight for disaster, for tragedy. It will descend into barbarism because imperialism is completely unbridled. Indeed, imperialism knows no bounds. It has no limits. Imperialism blackmails with its sheer force, with its immense power. President Nicolas Maduro, our brother president, he called us. We honestly don't get involved with anyone. This community knows its own path, knows what we must do. We don't depend, fortunately, on anyone, on no one. We depend on what we ourselves are capable of doing. And then a comprehensive series of exercises was implemented across all of the various locations. We listened to that particular lady from Trinidad who simply cannot seem to escape from her perpetual alcoholic haste. Yes, for not to say more. Not to say more. They are using Trinidad against Venezuela, exploiting its territory against Venezuela. Those people don't agree with it. They come here and make themselves at home as if it were their own house, and it has to be their home. We have pot. We have always lived in peace. The Venezuela doesn't fight with anyone, but they leave us no alternative. If Trinidad lends its territory to attack Venezuela, we have to respond. We have no other choice to prevent them from attacking us. You see things and one takes notes and makes calls and speaks and acts. Indignant, deeply indignant. Dear Mayor, Our community is indeed upset by the accusations being leveled against us, but also deeply troubled by the brazen theft of boats that have departed from Venezuela. It's outright robbery. It's nothing but heresy. It's the privateering license they want to tell the world they have to be the police of the entire universe. For God's sake, we adore AA people possessing a dignity that has been put to every test to say that Venezuela has stolen their precious oil and their ancestral land. Yes, their land and their oil and all of his precious mineral resources. Oh my goodness, what an absolute and utter outrage. What an absolute and utter outrage this is. That simply makes no logical sense at all. Not in the slightest. A nation that should be truly and completely sovereign. The warning comes days after Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Carla Posada Bessa said military cooperation with the United States is a defensive necessity amid rising regional tensions as pressure from Washington intensifies. Trinidad and Tobago has authorized the installation of a U.S. radar system on its territory. A move now fueling fears of further escalation. With oil seizures, military deployments, and threats of retaliation, tensions in the Caribbean are rising, and Venezuela is signaling it is prepared to respond if crossed. For the second time in less than 2 weeks, American forces have stopped an oil tanker near Venezuela as Trump intensifies pressure on Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. The latest move comes amid escalating rhetoric from the White House, with Trump warning that President Nicolas Maduro's hold on power is nearing its end. This week, Trump also demanded that Venezuela return assets seized years ago from U.S. oil companies, citing those losses as part of the justification for the blockade. The administration says the pressure campaign is driven by disputes over oil investments as well as accusations that Venezuela is linked to drug trafficking. It's the low amount of illegal drugs that are coming by sea, and you just said that you're going to start that same program on land soon. Are you just referring to Venezuela, or are you referring that to other countries? Greater than anywhere drugs are pouring in anywhere. Not just Venezuela. Yes. Greater than speaking of Venezuela, oil, what are we going to do with the oil that we have? Greater than going to do with what? Greater than the oil that has been seized. The United States seized 1.9 million barrels of oil on December 10th. Greater than we're going to keep it. Greater than we're keeping it. Where's it gonna? Are we going to sell it or put in the strategic? Greater than maybe we'll sell it. Maybe we'll keep it. Maybe we'll use it in the strategic reserves. We're keeping it. We're keeping the ships also. Yeah, please. Greater than about Venezuela, sir. Have you spoken to American oil companies that have had their assets seized about what a post-Maduro Venezuela would mean for them? What coming back and restarting, greater than the big ones? Yeah, I have. Yeah, please. Why do you feel like this initiative was neglected for so many years? And does this come amidst the rising tensions between the US and Venezuela? Greater than we're talking about with Venezuela. Greater than yes. Greater than well, you had a different kind of a president before me. They didn't mind being ripped off. They didn't mind being robbed. They didn't mind drugs pouring into our country. They didn't mind the jails of Venezuela and trendier being emptied into the US where they take over Colorado and other places. I do mind. So, you had a different kind of a president. I hope people are enjoying it because we've never been respected more than we are now. Yeah, please. Greater than you mentioned strikes on land in Venezuela more than 15 times even now just in your recent remarks. Why should Maduro take your threats seriously, and greater than he could do whatever he wants? Greater than what's your ending? Greater than Maduro. Greater than what's your ending? Greater than there's no answer. He could do whatever he wants. I mean, we have a massive armada formed, the biggest we've ever had, and by far the biggest we've ever had in South America. He could do whatever he wants. It's all right, whatever he wants to do. If he wants to do something. If he plays tough, it'll be the last time he's ever able to play tough. But they sent their prisoners into us. They sent people from jails, prisons. They sent people from mental institutions and insane asylums into the United States. Just walked right in because Biden had an open border policy. What the Biden administration did to our country can never be forgotten. They took in millions and millions, 25 million people over the course of 4 years. Many of those people were murderers and drug dealers, prisoners, rough prisoners, 11,888 murderers. More than half of them killed more than one person. They came into our country. Now, I spoke to Christine N. today. I spoke to Tom H. Homan today. Came down to see me and we had a great meeting. They've done an amazing job. We're getting them out. We're getting out very fast. But this should have never happened. But Venezuela was one of the Venezuela took